Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, I'll be showing you guys the secret unused co-pilot seat that Halo Reach Sabres have, but goes completely unused. So, as you know, in Halo Reach, you only ever get to pilot a Sabre in gameplay. You never actually get to ride in the passenger or co-pilot seat at all. Now, recently in a recent video, I did show you guys what the pilot seat looks like in first person, and it's actually really cool being able to fly a Sabre in first person. But like I said, we never get to see the co-pilot seat, and there is actually one that goes completely unused. Now you may be thinking that we have seen the co-pilot seat before. It's shown in this cutscene during Long Night of Solace when the Sabres launch into space. And yeah, I mean, technically that is a co-pilot seat, and technically that is where it is. However, it's only shown in cutscenes, and in cutscenes the seat is it's not actually used. The way cutscenes work in Halo games is that the characters, they're not actually sitting in the seats. They're actually just, they're animated along with the Sabre. They're all animated together, but no one is actually sitting in a co-pilot seat. Also in gameplay, after the cutscene, George, well, he's not actually in the passenger seat either, in the co-pilot seat. He's just not there. The only one in your Sabre during this part of the mission is you, Noble 6. So, let's take a look at what this little co-pilot seat is actually like. So, first of all, by default, Sabres, the canopy on their cockpit, it's all blacked out. So, there's a special variant called the cinematic version of Sabres that has a clear canopy that you actually see through. So, we'll be using that in a little bit. But the passenger seat, it does exist, and the only difference about it is that it's just disabled for players, as you saw there. It's invalid for players. So I simply unchecked it, and I enabled it. You can see here in-game, it actually says, hold E to operate Sabre turret, which is actually very interesting, because the seat is never used, but it does have some text associated with it. Yeah, but it's not called a passenger seat, it's called the Sabre turret seat. And this is what it looks like by default, without any other changes made to it, aside from enabling it for the players to use. Now, I can't actually fire any turret or any gunners on this. I'm just literally sitting here, and this is what it looks like from the normal perspective. So, there is actually a proper third-person perspective for the passenger seat, and I actually enabled it. There's a Sabre passenger camera, but it goes unused. But this is what it actually looks like in a passenger seat with the proper camera, or maybe the cut intended camera. So that all is what it's like by default. So now I fixed up the passenger seat. I actually added the cockpit, because by default the Sabre actually doesn't have an interior cockpit when you're piloting it. It's all just that's why the canopy is all blacked out, because they don't want you to see what's inside, because there's nothing inside. So I added the cockpit from the cinematic, and this is what I did for the first person Sabre piloting as well. I added that, and this is what it actually looks like with a proper first person camera and everything in the passenger seat. So here you have it. That is the passenger seat. However, there's a issue with it. On MCC, when we are in the passenger seat, and even the pilot seat actually, while it's moving, it's going to be freaking out. And like I said, that is with the pilot seat as well. But it does not affect the Xbox 360 version of Halo Reach, which is why I did that first-person mod on the 360. And that is because MCC is still broken. At higher speeds, while at higher frame rates, above 30 FPS really. Even at 60 FPS there are issues. But above 30 FPS on MCC, a lot of movement interpolation, especially at higher frame rates or higher refresh rates, it's just completely broken. And I know a lot of people out there keep saying MCC's fine, MCC's fixed now, it doesn't need any more updates, let's focus on Infinite. They don't realize that MCC is still fundamentally broken in a lot of ways, and this is just one example, and this is just really barely the tip of the iceberg either. But regardless, I did try to fix it up as much as I could, and you can see here that I got it somewhat working okay on MCC, but the Sabre just has to fly at a very low speed and really fly at, without turning or anything, and only then can we kind of somewhat get, a visible cockpit from the passenger seat. and it looks pretty cool. I mean, even at low speeds, it almost looks like you're flying on an airplane, really. But yeah, that's what the passenger seat looks like. And like I said, this is just a modified version. Like, I fixed it up a little bit compared to like what it is by default. And I'm guessing like Bungie cut the passenger seat at some point. Maybe at one point it was intended to be actually used, but I guess for whatever reason they removed it. But I assume what I've done here is probably close to maybe what they had in mind. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found it to be interesting. If you did, then as always, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section down below. But aside from that, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.